And what is going on, everybody? Day 4 of Crimson Dawn, the week before Halloween. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and please have a safe and happy Halloween. And let's get into it. Back in the present, Lee's eyes flicker open, and he sits up and he sees he's now cleaned up and in freshly washed clothes. He turns to see JJ and Luca coming too. Ugh, my head. Where are we? Lee looks around to see they're in a plush yet old chamber.
I don't know, but wherever we are, it looks like it was built for a king.
Is it? To Rococo then? Or Baroque? No, not Baroque. It's lacking pomposity. And if you say so. Geez, Luca, if you're gonna take us to a safe house, I could do without them knocking out. It wasn't me. It wasn't? No, I was taken after you.
It's true. We were both wondering where you got to before Baldy here did a disappearing act right before my very eyes.
Okay, so who brought us here? We did. They turned to see 5 tall and gaunt figures dressed in velvet robes standing there.
I'm getting real sick of sudden surprise appearances.
Oh, well, thank you for your help, Mr. Benedetto Carlotti. I am the leader of the Vampiric Congress of North America. Okay. You will excuse the intrusion, gentlemen, but it was necessary in order to prevent panic and to carry this out with expedience. We don't have much time. Well, that's true.
So, what's the Vampire Congress of America doing helping us 3 lowlives?
I'm sure by now you've met with one of our associates, Nadja Solanka. Briefly. And she's reported the course of your investigations to us. We've been monitoring Obertaub for decades, and he's a threat to our kind.
So we've heard.
As such, I propose an alliance to stop this madman.
Excuse me, sir? But from what I've learned so far, isn't this a vampire problem? The way I see it, this is more of your best to clean up. No offense.
Wow, dude. And after they cleaned the literal shit off of you.
Hey man, I get that your girlfriend roped you into this, but this is beyond our scope. And if you believe what Dr. Nazi was spouting earlier, he's got it in for these guys, not us.
Gentlemen, you do realize that once Obertaub is finished eliminating our kind, he will turn on humanity. We have a common foe and a chance to stop this.
What are you talking about?
Carlotti opens the door and they follow him down the hall in the spiraling stairwell. When the project failed, he was firmly convinced that humans would be the best subjects. But he never got the chance as the Wehrmacht put an end to his experiments and focused on the V1 project. But he kidnapped humans as much as he did vampires in the years following the war. What makes you think his descendants will follow suit? Well, he tries to say something, but is clearly stumped. Well, he is the grandson of a Nazi scientist, so at this point it's all plausible. What do you have in mind? We need your help in assaulting the laboratory, destroying the specimen, disabling the suits, and ending the experiments once and for all. This must die with Obertaub. So basically we're going back to the lab from which we narrowly escaped. Yes.
Oh, wow. Super. This day keeps getting Better and better.
So why haven't you been able to stop, though? You're just letting this guy walk all over you. He has built these monsters with silver linings in the joints and wires, and the strength has been augmented. Even if we could overpower them with raw strength, we couldn't reach their vulnerable circuits.
Right. So you need us to touch the vulnerable parts?
Ew, Suchek!
Hey, that best describes what they're asking us here.
Quite. In the instances where we've confronted them, they've gotten the better of us.
Cool. Where do we start?
It cuts to a chamber where they gather around a blueprint of the mechanical suits. We see the vampires and the bushwhackers around the table. From what I could glean, the vampires rely on a hydraulic system that converts the protein from the blood to feed the brain, and then the blood is recycled. Yes, but they still need to acquire fresh blood. True. And it would take a tremendous amount of impact to disrupt the hydraulic system. But what about the brain case? Heavily tinted to block out sunlight. They put copious amounts of anti-reflective coating both on the inside and outside of the domes. Even the brain, once extracted from the rest of the body, is vulnerable to sunlight.
What's this?
He points to a vent at the back of the skull. That is an exhaust vent.
An exhaust vent? I thought they were vampires.
Cyborgs, technically. But the vent is to release any exhaust and... What? Luca points to the plans. Well, look where the vent leads to. It's basically going straight through the hydraulic system into the brain itself. To the ordinary eye, the process may be slow, but it's moving lightning fast, pumping all the nutrients in the brain in seconds. You know, I've got a theory.
Oh no.
Well, it's a very good theory, and I'm 88% certain it'll work.
Even at 100%, I'd be wary of your theories.
Carlotti shoots Lee a dirty look before continuing. What exactly did you have in mind? Back in 1943, Obertaub is marveling at his latest creation, which he deems the Uberkrieger, the superior robotic vampire. As the Count watches, we are taken to a mindscape where the Count is in his normal body. What have they done to me? Look at me! I'm an abomination. I've been turned into a plaything for mere mortals. Men who would not even be worth a snack, let alone attention. A once proud man, now turned into a mere thing. Count! He turns to see the same woman from before standing before him. No. No, not Count. Not anymore. The woman kneels down. Count, you must help us. How? I can't even help myself. They have me attacking when and where they will. They do that to all of us. But you can save us. He pensively looks up. How? You are the alpha male, the leader of Obertaub's pack. He's built a master control which transmits instructions to all of the followers. He did that so if you refuse to obey, he could punish you by punishing all of us. And you want me to destroy it? Well, not necessarily. We cannot stand the sham of this existence. We would rather die than carry on being the toys of this Nazi madman. Greta, assuming I were to agree with you, what did you have in mind? Greta sadly smiles. You're not going to like it, Count, but please know that the entire coven is behind you. We will all follow you. We will all follow your lead. no matter what. In the present, the group has devised a plan. It cuts to a mausoleum with the vampires gathered. As they chatter, Carlotti looks around. Come, you mongrels. Catch the scent. Suddenly, lights appear in the tree line and there are screeches. As they dive the mausoleum, the vampires retreat into the underground vault. As the vampires begin clawing at the door, Lee and Luca leap on top of two of the monsters holding vials.
Ugh! I hope for your sake this works!
They jam the vials into the vents when smoke emanates from the brain cases. They are thrown off, and the vampires screech and grab their heads before collapsing. The others, seeing this, turn and fly off. Lee and Luca walk over to see a pinkish-colored ooze emanate from the creatures' mouths. Carlotti and JJ presently join them. It worked! It worked!
I can see that.
What happened?
Well, we injected this liquid into the vents, and it basically melted their brains.
What is that liquid? Oh, holy water. We see Lee pry open one of the brain cases to reveal the blackened lump still smoking. As the vampires gather around, Carlotti looks at his compatriots. We have our secret weapon. We can now begin our counterattack. Back to World War II, we see the graphic 1944. In the distance, we see what appears to be a flock. As they draw near, it is the Coven. Obertaub is on the comms. Remember, as soon as the Allies are near, you are to dive bomb their landing craft and ships. They must not make it to the beaches, do you hear me? They must perish. The Count screeches. He sees the ships below and turns to see the Germans in their bunkers, their panzer tanks moving into position and guns being trained towards the sky. The Count turns to his companions, nods, and they shift directions and dive bomb the Germans instead. As the first wave crash towards the earth, they create explosions and craters. The German soldiers, stunned, begin opening fire. Obertaub is furious. You cretin! You imbecile! You're attacking your own men! Turn back, schnell! But the Count refuses to comply. In the mindscape, we see the Coven members and Greta. The Count stands atop a stump and addresses them. My children, I am a warrior and a proud German. I am the son of the Empire and always will be. But this is no Reich, and these are not honorable men. They are louts who would skulk in the darkness, shaming the darkness for hiding such misery. We are no one's playthings. We ally ourselves with no one. We are for ourselves. Hail eternity! As the Coven cheers, it cuts back to the Coven dive bombing the pillboxes and bunkers. A few soldiers are being mauled by the robotic vampires. Obertaub is fuming. Count! Count, this is your master! Obertaub, you will order your pack to desist at once. When he gets no response, he produces a switch. You remember the master control, yes? I will end you and your pathetic coven if you refuse to comply. There's a gargling noise over the radio. Scheiße. Obertaub swears and presses the button. It cuts to the bunker where the Count, in his body, sees the sun. As he smiles, he is slowly burned away, along with the rest of the Coven, fading into dust. It cuts to the laboratory where we see Obertaub in a mechanized wheelchair studying the footage. As he does so, a soldier runs up. Interesting, Groves. Very interesting. You see, when we attacked the last Coven gathering a few days ago, 2 of our sentinels went offline. I need to compensate by switching to a manual override, but nothing. He turns around. It's as if they died. Sir, the base is under attack. Is it? Send out the sentinels. We're running short of manpower and we could stock up. Meanwhile, at the entrance, the vampires are putting up resistance, killing the guards with ease. As the last guard drops dead, Carlotti turns and stops, and he sees a swarm of robot vampires launch straight towards them. Carlotti turns to see a few of his vampires carried off while another is violently mauled. Come on, you three. I hope you're there by now. It cuts to the main lab where one of the vents flies off and the Bushwackers emerge. As they straighten up, they look to see most of the guards are gone and proceed to the consoles, where they begin planting explosives. JJ runs to the armory where he sees the dormant machines and begins plugging the vials into the vents. What are you doing? They turn to see Obertaub in his now mechanized wheelchair, crawling on arthropod-like legs. You three. I should have known. What did those bloodsuckers promise you in return for betraying your own kind? Gold? Riches? Immortality? The three don't answer but bolt. Obertaub presses a button and one of the larger sentinels emerges. Go, my Leviathan. Find and destroy them. The giant machine thunders slowly. It cuts to a close-up of a bomb and it goes to zero when suddenly the platform explodes. Obertaub screams as he falls into the abyss below and the sentinel flaps its wings and roars overhead. Luca leaps onto the back of the creature and prepares to jam the vial into the vent when he hears a voice. Luca. He looks down to see the creature staring at him. Nadja? Nadja, is that you? Yes. Well, what's left of me anyway? Please, we don't have much time. You have to end this. End this? He looks at the vial. Are you sure? I can find a way to bring you back. No. No, it's too late. Please, this one last act of kindness and love you have, do it for me. JJ scurries over to Lee, where they hear a screech as one of the vampires enters, his hands burning.
Well...
It worked. It actually worked. As he says this, a giant sentinel lands in front of him with a vial protruding from the neck. Luca dismounts, looking forlorn.
Hey, buddy! We did it! We finally put an end to this whole robot vampire mess! Luca? Buddy?
But he doesn't say anything, walking past the vampires and Lee towards the entrance. Lee and JJ look after him when a thought occurs to JJ. Where's Carlotti? We find out that Obertaub survived his fall, although his mecha wheelchair didn't. As he crawls away, coughing up blood, he hears a noise and turns around. He grunts and tries to crawl to a nearby vent when someone grabs and lifts him up. He sees it as Carlotti. Dr. Lawrence Obertaub. The scientist doesn't say anything but squirms. Carlotti cocks his head and we hear a snap and the silhouette of Carlotti holding a limp and lifeless body. Consider the matter even. Back in 1944, Obertaub is reviewing the reports when an officer walks in. He salutes half-heartedly as the officer sits down. It is over, Doctor. The project was a failure. Obertaub looks up, incredulous. A failure? Mein Gott, you are a pessimist. The general lights a cigarette and blows smoke calmly. Doctor, pessimists are often pragmatic. And it's high time to admit that this project of yours has come to nothing. The resources diverted could have built more tanks, aeroplanes, guns, and ships. He tosses a discarded cybernetic head onto the desk. And now this fantasy will be the end of the Reich. Obertaub squeezes the head and turns to the general, fury on his face. Nein, General. Nein. This will never end. The general calmly puts out the cigarette and puts on his hat. I am truly sorry that you feel this way, Doctor. As he says this, soldiers rush in, guns drawn. Obertaub is astonished at the turn of events. Finally realizing defeat, He lifts his arms and lowers his head as he's led away. It cuts back to Lee's apartment, which has been miraculously restored. Lee gives a tour to a somewhat bemused JJ.
I mean, I don't actually believe it. That Carlotti guy actually said, "How can we ever pay you back?"
Uh-huh.
And I just said offhand, "Oh, if you could restore my apartment right before it got blown up by those robot vampires, that'd be fantastic." And would you believe it?
They actually restored it.
In the computer too. Custom built, with special parts, and they managed to get them all in, ordered, and assembled.
Yeah, dude, I was there. Luca emerges from the bathroom. Hey, man, you alright? Hmm? Oh, fine. Fine. I was thinking we deserve some much-needed R&R. That's all.
That is not a bad idea. I can go for sabbatical from all this nonsense. And from you too. No offense.
Yeah. Plus, I think we really need to nail down what our MO is. We tried exterminators, plumbers, mercenaries, and private eyes, and it's come to nothing.
Well, we can't just choose a normal job that doesn't involve vampires, Nazis, or giant worms.
Um, I could try.
Great. See, Luca, is a JJ a trooper? You're a trooper. You know that?
Yeah. See ya. Luca bids farewell and walks out to the breezeway, where he lights a pipe. He's expecting someone to chide him, but he hears nothing. As he blows smoke, he reaches into his pockets and pulls out a brooch. It cuts to the first night they met, and we see Nadja give him a brooch before walking away. Luca stares at the brooch and quietly taps the contents of his pipes onto the ground as bats screech and flutter towards the full moon. And that is going to do it for our Halloween special, Crimson Dawn. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and spread this video around. You know, this would be a great way to celebrate Halloween. If you can't go out and party or trick or treat, definitely watch this video. It's the next best thing. Next week, the Bushwackers take on Toilet Man. I think it's Toilet Man. Well, we'll see what happens then. And also next Wednesday, Coffee Soup returns, where we examine the Cynic life. What was it like for ancient Greek philosophers back then as they tried to live life in accordance with nature, i.e. living like an animal? And just a few other things. The week before Thanksgiving, we are going to premiere our 5-part special, Emerald Curse, the Bushwackers' venture into the land of Oz, where they discover that the Wicked Witch of the West is actually alive and kicking. And the week before Christmas in December, we will premiere The Way to Eternity. The Bushwackers are called in to help save the North Pole from a Russian invasion. So please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and again, happy Halloween. Take it easy.